This episode of the Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by Black Box Prompter. Are you a musician tired of being tethered to your tablet or music stand? Do you long to connect with your audience on a deeper level, but find yourself constantly glancing down at your lyrics and chords? Then I highly recommend Black Box Prompter, the smart and stealthy lyrics and chords teleprompter designed to liberate musicians from the stage clutter. This innovative device is perfect for bands, hobbyists jamming out in the garage, touring pros rocking arenas, and even houses of worship looking to elevate their services. It discreetly displays your lyrics and chords, allowing you to maintain eye contact with your audience, adding an extra layer of authenticity and connection to your performance. Don't let distractions hold you back. Unleash your full potential and create a more powerful connection with your audience with Black Box Prompter. Click the link in our episode description and use the promo code Corcoran at checkout for 10% off your purchase. Black Box Prompter, the smart teleprompter built for musicians by musicians. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I am your host, Frankie Corcoran. Frankie Corcoran, whatever it is. Coming at you with a bonus Thursday episode. I always like to tack one of these on every now and then. Before we start today, I just want to give a quick little plug again for anyone locally listening. Tomorrow at the St. James and St. John United Church Center, the Mapleton Dynasty. It's a very, very fun show. Super excited to be part of it. You can get your tickets at Dickinson's. Dickinson's Pharmasafe, and it's encouraged that you buy them ahead of time because no guarantee that there will be any left at the door. So just a little throwing that out there for people. A lot of fun, support local talent, and come have a good time. So yeah, moving on to the show today. As you guys know, as I mentioned, I like to do these every now and then to throw in an additional interview. I've been doing lots of them lately. I just got lots of amazing people that I want to have on the show and that I want to talk to on the show. So I'm able to squeeze them all in, which is good. And this guy is no different. He is a regular on this podcast now. He's been the host of Static Radio since 1998 alongside Miles Tidal. The great Bob LeMent is coming on for what I think it's fourth time, yeah. And always a blast talking with him and talk about a lot of things. And just a great guy, always a blast to talk to. So hope you guys enjoy it. Definitely be sure to leave us a nice little review rating. Go support Bob Static Radio. And so without further ado, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast today. All right, hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I'm your host, Frankie Corcoran, and today I'm joined by a series regular for the Corcoran Entertainment Show. Always a blast having him on. He has been the host of Static Radio since 1998 alongside Miles Tidal. Bob LeMent. Bob, what's going on?
Hey, Frankie, how are you?
Great
You're knocking them out of the park here these days.
Am I? How so?
Well,
fuel my
tell
ego.
You. I'll lead in slowly. So I just listened to the podcast. Dave Jackson, I think it was, right?
Yeah, School of Podcasting. Yeah,
School of Podcasting today. I had to do a little bit of a trip, and so I was listening to that today. Very good. I loved it. You did a great job.
Thank you.
And then I listened to the Flat Earth guy recently within the last week or so on another trip. And then the biggest of all, here's what you're doing for my ego, Frankie. This is I'm very selfish, so it's all about me.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's why you're here, so I can talk about you.
Exactly. All about me, Frankie. You're bringing me, closer to greatness by having Patrick Fabian on.
Yeah, what an honor. It was such an honor to, that that was one of those things where I tell people all the time, like anybody who wants to do a podcast or anything and they want to have big people on and say, oh, it's never going to happen. Just keep on doing it. It'll happen eventually. I mean, did you kind of, when you started Static Radio, did you ever think of, okay, like what if we get this person on? What if we get that person on? Like, how did you kind of go about that?
So, well, we don't worry we don't worry about that too much because it's mostly just Miles and I kind of doing things. But we have had some folks over the not the level of a great actor like Patrick Fabian, but but we have and even early days we got some folks. So there's a person who. I'll say his name, but you probably won't know who he is. But he has done some really interesting things. Sir John Hargrave, who was kind of an inspiration for me to do these kind of things, because he was doing back in probably 97-ish, 98, was doing a daily show called Computer Stew. And it was a video show back then in 1998. And he worked for Ziff Davis Publishing. And as part of his work, he basically put himself in a corner and said, I'm going to make a daily video show in those days, which was really tough. So but he pulled it off, and he did it for quite some time back then. And I was just totally enamored. I would watch his clips every day. And this is when, video was massive, and, you'd basically be watching like a postage stamp on the screen. And so it was just a major kudos to him for pulling it off, basically. I mean, this was before, I think, even, SD cards or anything. He was still doing recording to tape and then having to digitize the tape. But anyway, we've talked to him. And actually, I've talked to him a few times over the years. After that, kind of looped back a few times. And then one year at he had a book out called Prank the Monkey, where he pulled pranks on people. And that's why his name is Sir John Hargrave, because he legally changed his name to Sir, which is goofy. But
Sir John, well, it's like Sir Ian McKellen,
Yeah, right, exactly. He wanted to be a Sir, and so he literally changed his name to have his first name be Sir. And but one of the things he did was he pranked the Super Bowl, and he back when Prince was the musical act on the Super Bowl, he somehow got into distribute these light up things. It didn't quite work, but him and his cohorts were able to illegally distribute these light up Prince things in the crowd. And it was supposed to, if everybody lit them up, it was supposed to be say something, but everybody didn't light them up. But so that part didn't work. But he did actually, get past Super Bowl security and distribute all these, like hundreds and hundreds of these light up Prince things. And he had a whole book basically on these pranks that he pulled over the years. So, but anyway, yeah, I don't know if John. I'll send him a note and tell him to listen, because I mentioned you, John, on this show.
Shout out, yeah, shameless plug.
And but he's now he's a Bitcoin guy, so he became a Bitcoin millionaire back in the early days of Bitcoin, and he's still talking Bitcoin and doing marketing work. So,
oh, okay, awesome.
Good for him.
No, my God, absolutely. And like and how many times have you had him on, you say?
I probably, over the years, I think we've talked to him at least 3 or 4 times, just in different stages of things happening. We talked to him before he had his book. And then when he had his book, we had talked to him again. And then I think I've talked to him twice more since then, and just to catch up. And times change, and he kind of changed his focus and was doing the Bitcoin thing. And I talked to him last time about oh gosh, now I'm a blank on the terminology because it's kind of weird. But we talked about Bitcoin, obviously, but we talked about all that kind of different digital art and all that kind of stuff last time we talked. So. Okay. It was just, he was kind of into some of that. And I'm blanking on the name now, Frankie. Help me out with this. People are trying to sell digital art for like millions of dollars, and they called it. I'm hoping
Oh.
you'll be my memory here, Frankie.
Oh, geez, my memory's not very good either. You wouldn't
Anyway,
think. People say, "Oh, you're young, this and that." I'm like, no, I still forget shit all the time. I don't even remember what I had for breakfast, and that's not even a joke. Like,
well, anyway, we talked about a lot of different, kind of digital currency and stuff because that's what he was kind of into at the moment. So, and he's just a nice guy, and he's done lots of weird things over his career and changed it a bit, and got married, had children, and had to get make some real money, and it worked out for him though. That's fantastic.
no,
But
that's
I
it.
think to your question though, yeah, I think that everyone should just push a little harder. So you just basically wrote to his management, to Patrick Fabian's management.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's how a lot of it goes with booking certain people. It's reach out to their publicists and reach out to their talent agents, whoever. Now, some of them, it's more difficult to find, like depending on how big the actors are. Like I try to go for people who I know are realistic to get.
Mhm.
Like I'm not going to get like a like Robert Downey Jr. You're not going
Right.
to get any of those big stars, so you kind of got to go off people like, say, like somebody who's known enough in the industry, but then also someone who isn't as famous as someone like, say, Robert Downey Jr.,
Mhm.
but it's still uh you still have those people, like, as we said, Patrick Fabian, where
Mhm.
it's like, oh crap, like a lot of people know who that is because they all watch Better Call Saul and
Yeah.
Last Exorcism. I'm sure lots of people have seen that.
Well,
It's
yeah, I
been a
was
while
just
since I've
blown
seen that
away
one.
because I mean, to me in that show, right? Everybody talks about Bob Odenkirk and and everybody, like the main characters. He to me was one of the best actors in the show
So good.
because the story pushed him in a certain light, and it was believable, right? So you thought he was a real jerk, right? But the reality was, as you get through the story, which is over years, he's really not. He wasn't a bad guy.
No, exactly. And
It-
when you really
and
think
you can
about it,
see it at the end there. You're like, oh my gosh, this guy's not a horrible jerk. He's just, obviously had a very good privileged life, but he holds no animosity toward Bob Odenkirk, his character, right? Saul. He has no animosity to him. He was trying to help him, but in the light of the way it was written and the way it was, portrayed and everything, you totally were like, oh God, he's the bad guy, And I to pull that off to me, once it kind of came around, I was like, man, that guy is good.
like, that takes serious talent too, and good writing, and just good, good production all around.
Yeah.
uh because it was really, to put those shows together, it's such a team effort too. I mean, like, you have a great actor there, but you also need good writers, and they have that. And then for the actors to be able to put on a good performance, like, it's either one. There's no story or good story if both parties don't pull their weight. If you
Right.
got a terrible director and a good actor, okay, the good actor will do what he can with whatever direction he was given,
Mhm.
but that you would have got a much better performance had you had somebody like, I don't know, like, you were going to get Steven Spielberg to do it, or you were going to get, I don't know, some guy who doesn't know what he's doing. It's like, oh well, get Steven Spielberg. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you can afford him, because I mean
Right.
that's
But I was blown away by his performance because if you think about, like, so 80s movies, you'd have the arrogant rich guy, right? Which he seemingly, visually he kind of was, right? They kind of set him up to be rich guy who was, I've got it all, and who are you, and that kind of a look. But he never, if you look as you watch the performance, he never really did that. He always was kind of like, well, and then whenever they kind of reveal the fact that he's not, kind of this smug ass, you think back and you're like, you know what? You're right. He was torn because his business partner wanted him to be one way, and then he was like, well, personally I don't feel that way. And it really did come through, I think, when you watch the show. And you don't really, it's just like anything else, you don't know it until you know it. And I just thought it was masterful, and I thought, wow, this guy should be in everything, because if he can pull that off, what else can he pull off,
No, exactly. Like that's, and it's also just a like really, when you look at the whole show as a whole, how perfectly everyone was cast, and how perfect, I mean, like the casting director, like my God, like even when they're doing flashback sequences, and they, like whenever they were doing like the Jimmy and Chuck flashbacks, and they
Yeah.
would cast the young Chuck to like a T, they would cast the young Jimmy to a T.
Yeah.
Kim, they casted young Kim, like young Ray Seahorn, to a T. Like it's just unbelievable how they do it. And Breaking Bad too was like the exact same way. I mean, I could go on and on about just how incredible like the franchise is and everything, and what it's done. And contributed to many people in their creative endeavors, people who want to pursue screenwriting and stuff like that, or writing in general.
Yeah.
They look at a lot of the Breaking Bad screenplays, like even on Reddit, you can read some of the Breaking Bad scripts. And I think that's just what they've done is just masterful, in that they've set it up so like many generations to come now will see that, will learn from it. Like we're learning from different movies like The Godfather. That's something that was what year, 1980 something, 90. I can't remember how long ago it was now that
The
that
Godfather
came,
would be 74.
74. Was that 74 when that
was
came
the
out?
first Godfather.
Holy geez, yeah, it is too. My God, I was trying to think. I said it felt like it was in like the 80s, but still, like that's how you know, like it's just.
Well, you seen it on TV in the 80s. It was probably played constantly on television.
God,
so.
it was on AMC here the other day. I was just scrolling through TV, and AMC,
Again,
it was playing on there.
masterful movie. I mean, that movie has got it all, and they pull it all off too, which is the wild thing, right? So there's so many movies and television shows where I know people are trying really, really, really hard, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then you have stuff like Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad and The Godfather, and it's like, man, it's like magic in a bottle. There, it's just lightning in a bottle. They got it, and they caught it, and it's just so rewatchable because of it. And we'll be, like you talked about, The Godfather is 1974, and we're still talking about it. Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, we'll still be talking about those in 20 years, because
Oh
they're
my God,
so
absolutely.
good. And because of these performances and stuff. But to get kind of loop back to what I was talking about, so you became my bridge to greatness in a way. I mean, you're great, Frankie, no offense, but now I'm linked up, via you to Patrick Fabian, and I was on oddly enough, another Canadian show, which it's like the old stuff where we can't mention the other network, so I won't necessarily say who it was, but I was on a different show, and one of my favorite comic actors, who oddly enough is Canadian, is Brent Butt from Corner Gas.
Oh yes, yes.
And he was on that show. And I was on, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm linked up through these guys to Corner Gas. And so, yeah, I'm just reveling in the fact that you are so adept that you can place me in the same pantheon in your show with these other people. So I appreciate it, Frankie.
Well, definitely. Well, and I mean, you've been doing this since 1998 too. Like this is something where, like, don't sell yourself short. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I know,
like that's
but
the vibe I'm getting off you. You're like, I'm not good enough this. That dude, you've been at this for so long, and you're great at it too. Like definitely pat yourself on the back. You know what I mean?
well, thanks. I appreciate that. But you're right. But I'm a Midwesterner, right? So I think Midwesterners are probably the closest to Canadians in that we're always sorry. And we're always humble and we don't want to admit to anything beyond above the fray. So that's just the way it is here in the Midwest. I'm like, oh, thank you very much, but I'm no great shakes. So
Well, I mean, staying on the topic of you doing this for so long since 1998, how do you go about when it comes to being humble about what you've done? I mean, like you're not on other podcasts or anything where you have a chip on your shoulder and you're like, oh well, if I was doing the podcast, I would do it this way, or I would do it that way, or
well, I
so
haven't been
how do
on
you
Joe
kind of go
Rogan
about?
yet, so that wait till that happens. No, I'm just joking.
Uh-oh.
No,
So how do you
I'm
go?
just joking.
No,
Just joking.
I know you're joking. Are you really? That's
um,
how we know. Like this is why I love having you on because it's always just so much fun. But how do you go about being like humble and just down to earth when it comes to podcasting or radio and stuff when you've been at it for as long as you've been?
well, because I think it's just kind of my background and environment and so forth, and so I don't think about it that much. I mean, yeah, it's been a long time, and I think I do all right, and but I never really think more than that. I mean, I every time. So like you're like, hey, do you want to come on? Yeah, I want to. I'm excited. It's like this is the best, right? Who gets to do this? This much, and especially whenever you get to talk to people again, and it's not a kind of a one and done and moving on to the next thing where you kind of have a rapport, right? And so to me, the fact that we just get to talk every once in a while, and it happens to be recorded is fun for me. Chances are, if and the fact that we're so in such different geographic locations, I think that's cool, right? And so, yeah, all of it to me is just amazing and fun, and I think that's the way I perceive it. I mean, I would do it no matter what. It's just something that I enjoy, and I really enjoy the technology of it all. I enjoy the social aspect of it all, and it's just fun for me to do, and I would do it no matter what. So it's there's no thoughts about the rest of it. It's just like, yeah, let's do this. This is great.
It all just comes
Let's
naturally.
put on a show, as they used to say.
Yes, exactly. Are you still into the idea of radio plays too? Are you still into that whole
Yeah,
concept?
I've actually got to do a few of them over the years. I'm incredibly lazy, and so I don't want to do them. But I do have other people who like to take on that challenge that I know, and I have been involved with at least three or four that I can remember off the top of my head here. That they literally, like, sometimes we would get together like on a Zoom call, and we would do our parts together like a real time kind of radio play. And then I've also done things where I get my lines, and then I record them and I send them in, and then they edit it all together. I have a bit of a funny story on that. So I had gotten asked to be in one of these. It was an original thing that somebody wrote, and they're like, "Hey, would you do some characters?" And I said, "Sure." And I go, "When do you need it?" And so they told me, "Well, we need it, by whatever date it was." And for I have to travel every once in a while, so I was traveling, and so I was I think it was even a Holiday Inn, believe it or not, but I was in a Holiday Inn somewhere, and so I'm in my room, and in the evening, like 8 o'clock or something, and I'm giving it my all doing these lines, and I'm playing a character, I'm not just doing myself. So I'm playing a character, and I'm emoting and acting and everything. And then about 45 minutes to an hour into this, my hotel phone rings, which never happens.
It just knew.
Never. Nowadays, you never hear that stupid phone in the room ring. And it was the front desk. And they go, "Are you okay?" So
Yes,
apparently I
why?
was really loud. And I was doing, I can't remember what my lines were at this point, but I was doing these lines and I was being very loud. And I guess somebody walked by the door and thought I was either arguing with somebody or something was happening in the room. And so they called up from the front desk because I got reported on. And I'm like, "No, everything's fine, you know?" And then I
I'm
realized
making art.
after I said that, I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute. They were listening to me yelling, uh, whatever I was yelling, and these lines into my recorder." And so, yeah, it was really funny. I thought that was the most, I've never had that happen ever at a hotel where somebody's reported me. So,
Do you take that as a good sign that you're like, I think
yeah, I
I'm
think I
doing
was
the
doing a good
job right?
job.
Yes.
I mean, you know, well, you know, because you are a writer and a director and an actor, and you know that no matter what it is, right, you got to get up there and give it a go, right? You can't just go, "Yeah, hello, I'm here. What do you need?" You know, you have to emote. You have to put yourself into the character, right? And depending on what you're asked to do, you do what is necessary. And, you know, I thought, well, maybe I was really doing a good job because it was so believable that they called the front desk and told them that somebody's fighting in a room or something. So, yeah, it was funny. And I just, you know, I've taken that with me since it happened. And so far, I haven't had to record anything in the hotel room again. But I wanted to, you know, I want to be a good guy and get them what they need when they need it. And that just happened to be the timing of everything. And it was fairly quiet. I mean, most of the time it's pretty quiet in hotels, other than when people are next door acting and recording it.
Yeah, how often does that happen? Somebody just starts
Yeah, how
screaming,
often
"Oh,
does that?
I'm not in a fight. I'm just in a fight with a character, my
Yeah.
co-star, you know?"
Well,
Um,
I was
and
doing different voices too, so I think that I did more than one character. So I think that maybe they thought there was more than one person in there as well. And
like
then
Dr. Jekyll, Mr.
that really made me burst with pride. I'm like, really? I sound different enough to where they think it's somebody else?
Dr.
I did
Jekyll,
not
Mr.
ask him
Hyde.
that though. Yeah, I should have asked I should have asked him at the desk. But I
Oh
was a
my
little
god.
bit embarrassed because I've never had that happen. So I was like, okay.
But that's never a bad. Well, in the moment, it's embarrassing. When you
Yeah.
look back on it, like you're looking back on this now and you're laughing. That's a
Oh
good
yeah,
sign.
this is the great story, right? So I mean, you know, if anybody needs a voice, you know, send me a note. Send Frankie a note. He can contact me or whatever,
Yes.
or you can contact me through the website or what have you, and yeah, I'd be happy to do whatever. I a lot of times I'm you know kind of myself, my self persona, like you see, you know, you're talking to me now, but no, I do other stuff as well. When as opportunity, you know, arises, I'll do other stuff too. So
Well, since I mean, like talking about like the noise complaining and all that stuff, do you sometimes let your radio podcasting voice take over your normal calm talking voice?
um, not too often, and and this is always the puzzling thing to me, I think, maybe even more than other people sometimes, is I am a very quiet, reserved person, and I always joke about it with Miles because, and he jokes with me about it all the time because if a lot of times if I'm out in public, I will not talk to anybody. I'll just be in the background, and that's my normal, right? So whenever I get on here talking to you or doing other things and so forth, it's so against. If you were to, you know, meet me on the street, chances are I wouldn't talk to you unless I really knew who you were, right? And because I just don't engage that way in public. I really am quite reserved, and I really don't like crowds, and so I avoid I avoid crowds most of the time just for my own personal sanity. And unless there's a reason for me to be there, I'm not the one that's going to go, yeah, let's go, here or there to be in the mix, right? Unless there's a really good reason for me to be there, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And
Do you think maybe that's why you resonated so much with radio? Because you're not always with a big group of people and stuff. Like if you're
yeah,
talking to people on the radio, it's just you and one other person, or it's you and Miles. Like you don't have to worry about being in these big crowds. Is that kind of why radio, you were kind of steered more in that direction?
well, I've always, even as a kid, been drawn to radio for whatever reason. I hadn't really thought about it too much, but always, that's what I loved. But to be honest with you, I mean, I've talked to crowds. I've been up in front of crowds to do, not really speeches, but talk to people, and and stuff like that. And it doesn't really bother me that much. The weird thing to me is I don't want to be in the crowd. I can be around the crowd, but I can't be in it. Is that weird? Maybe it's weird.
No, that's not a bad thing. I really don't think that's a bad, like people, it's like people, yeah, it's kind of complicated too. It's not a bad thing. Absolutely. It's not a bad thing.
Thanks for reassuring me.
No, absolutely. Like I had to think about how to word it. Like hovering, like people like to hover and observe. Sometimes they don't want to be thrown in the middle. It's kind of like one of those things in high school where there's drama going on, or someone in the friend group or a club or the class is being disruptive and stuff, and you're more so just nosy and you're observant.
Yeah,
you just want to see it.
Nosy. Yeah.
Nosy.
No,
but like
that's fine.
you want to look at that, and there's almost like a relief there to like, okay, I'm not involved in that. This is entertaining for me.
Drama. No, I don't even want to be any part of drama unless I'm instigating the drama, and then I'll be a part of it.
Yes,
so,
but
I call people out or but then usually that's, for the show kind of a situation, as opposed to in real life. No, I'm very stay in the background. Don't rock the boat kind of guy. But yeah, it's weird, but you're right. But the voice comes out to answer your question, I guess, when I am in front of people and when I am doing things, then, this is my regular speaking voice, but I don't speak like this, like to my wife, on a regular basis, I don't go, hey, honey, what do you want to do? It's nothing like that. So it's very much more subdued. And typically it's her telling me what to do. And I just go, yeah, that sounds fine.
I'm just picturing Bob just doing I'm Bob LeMent. Yeah. All right. Like, honey, what do you want to do? Like,
whatever. She's like, you want to go here? Sure. Yeah. I'm very pliable, in a lot of those things. You want to do this? Yeah, sure.
You're very just like, it's never what you want to do. It's always about what she wants to do.
But I don't care. That's the good part is I don't really have an opinion. And then she gets mad at me because like sometimes like we had, so not to get too deep in the woods on this, but our house burned down a few years ago and we had to rebuild our house. So, but one of the things you do whenever that kind of thing happens is there's a lot of decision making. So, what kind of color for the walls, what kind of trim, what kind of doorknobs, what kind of flooring, I mean, what kind of fixtures, what kind of this, what kind of that, right? Everyone, I was like, what do you think about that? I'm like, yeah, that's fine if you like that.
I'm not
I had
picky.
No opinion whatsoever.
You're like, I'll put it on, I'll paint it, I'll put the flooring together. Just
whatever.
Tell me what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't. I really have on a lot of those things. I have absolutely zero opinion on any of them. And so, people that I'm acquainted with, they're like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, well, my wife wants us to do this, so I think we're doing that. And they're like, you always say that. I go, yeah. They're like, don't you care? I'm like, well, I care, but I don't really have an opinion on what a faucet looks like. Is the water come out of it? Sure. Okay, great. That's what I need. It's got hot and cold, even better.
It's like asking for coffee. Is it hot? Yes. Then I'll take it. you know?
But, I'm not overly worried about these things. I mean, it was nice to get it done so that get back to normal. But other than that, yeah, that's all I really wanted. I'm like, yeah, can we get back to normal and, get on with our lives and rather than have to worry about all this stuff? So,
Because life's
yeah.
too short sometimes, really. Like that's something. And you talking about your house burning down a few years ago. Uh, this year, 2025, was a crazy year for Los Angeles, with, of course, the
Right.
fires and stuff going on up there.
Fires.
When
Yeah.
when you see what's going on there, how does that bring back memories for you, or like bad memories? Like how does that
Am I traumatized?
traumatized? Yeah, I mean, seeing that stuff and going, I went through that. Like how does that kind of
Yeah.
impact you?
Uh, this is going to sound horrible, but I'll say it. I'll say it anyway, Frankie. So I felt for those folks. Obviously, this is a terrible thing that happens to them, and so forth. And you don't even know this probably, but my daughter lives in Los Angeles, so
Oh, geez.
so she sent us pictures from the top. She was on the roof of her building taking pictures of the fires and sending us. We had like our on location reporter, and we talked to her, regularly. So, yeah. So I mean, I was really, really worried about her, and obviously I felt for those folks. But as far as traumatization for myself, I mean, it's horrible, right? And I know it's horrible, and I felt bad, but it didn't traumatize me. The weird thing is what traumatized me is every once in a while our house didn't burn down completely, and this is one of these bad things with insurance and so forth. So half the house burnt down, burnt so bad that it could not be repaired, right? So it was gone. Everything was gone. And then another part of the house towards the garage didn't burn that much. And so they basically just tore down a good part of the house and then rebuilt that. And then we still have the other part. Now, what they do is they put this special paint on everything that was kept. And it's supposed to seal in, because everything smells horrible after a fire. I mean, it's just terrible. It smells like a fire.
The fire.
And so,
it just smells like
every
a
once in
fire.
a while, inside the house, you will get a whiff of it. It'll just certain ranges of humidity, and so forth will set off kind of just a waft of that smell, and it's like almost nauseating because I mean, after it happened, I guess volunteered, I don't know, to come in to get a few things that we needed to get, right? That to look for them and make sure that if they weren't burned up to get them. And so I came through, and then I also came and took pictures of everything afterwards just to document everything. And so the smell was just, it was incredible. And so when I get that smell, it really is like, oh my God, it just kind of makes you nauseous. But I will tell you, if you want to talk about, that kind of thing, there was, I don't know if this is good or bad or in between, but so there was a switch that flipped. So it happened. And basically the problem is whenever something like that happens, even though the whole house didn't burn, that they didn't, but everything got gutted basically. But everything inside gets covered in like soot, right? Like whatever's burning, embeds itself into everything that's inside the house. So everything had to go. Nothing got, very few things got saved. I'll put it that way. And so basically anything that I owned prior to the fire is gone. Right. And so, and right after that, I'm like, I don't care if I have anything. So before, I'm like more consumerist and, I want to get this, I want to get that, I want to have, cool things and all that, like people want. Afterwards, I could care less.
like the fact that everybody's okay is the main thing.
Yes, yeah, everybody was fine. I mean, we lost some pets, which made it really, really hard, because we weren't home, but the pets were, and that's been horrible. It still is horrible because I know you got a dog and everything, and so you know how that goes, right? So that to me was the worst thing that could happen was my pets passed away, and but everybody was okay, and you know, we soldiered on and suffered through some things, but yeah, it was like a switch was flipped. I don't, you know, I used to kind of want stuff, you know, and if you think, see, I'm even trying to think of what I would want, but you know, you have things, little collections of things, and nothing now. So what I have is I have, for the most part, what I want, I have a computer, which I use like I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, there you go. See, there's that.
And I have a phone and I have a tablet, and those are the things that I really connect with, but they're easily replaceable. You know, and anything that's just stuff, like we used to have, you know, some artwork and things like that. After the fire, pretty much everything we have on our walls is either pictures that my wife or I have taken, or my wife does a lot of craft stuff, or it's something that she's made. And there's nothing that is nothing from Target on the walls.
Right.
You know what I mean? So everything is deeply personal. Where before, you know, you'd be like, oh, that's a cool, you know, I'm trying to think of a designer, like these Target designers come out with stuff all the time, and they have like little doodads and things that you can put on your walls and what have you. And yeah, none of that. Don't have any of that. Everything we have is typically original, that we've created in some way, shape, or form.
Wow. Like,
and to me, I've never been happier with that. I'm like, why didn't we do this before?
The Corkin Entertainment Show is brought to you by Podmatch, the ultimate platform designed to connect podcast hosts with prospective guests effortlessly. Are you a podcaster looking to elevate your show to new heights? Or perhaps you're a guest hoping to share your story with a broader audience. Whatever your podcasting goals are, we have the perfect solution for you. Podmatch simplifies the entire process of discovering guests for your show or finding podcasts to feature your expertise. Now imagine a platform where you can easily match with like-minded creators tailored specifically to your niche. With Podmatch, you can effortlessly network with influencers and thought leaders, all while staying true to your podcast vision. There are a multitude of ways that Podmatch can help you grow your brand. You can be part of a thriving community of podcasters and potential guests. Engage, collaborate, and grow together. If you're ready to experience these fantastic benefits for yourself, we invite you to join Podmatch today. Head over to www.joinpodmatch.com/Corkin Entertainment and sign up right now for only $6 a month. That's right, you heard me right, $6 a month. Join the Podmatch family today and watch your podcast soar to new altitudes. Thank you for tuning into the Corkin Entertainment Show, and happy podcasting. I mean, in terms of like sentimental value, I mean, how was that? Because I mean, obviously, everyone got out. Everybody's okay. I mean, obviously, the pets. Unfortunately, that's terrible. Yeah, when you look at certain things like, oh crap, like was there something around the house that was special to you guys from years ago? Like, how'd you guys kind of deal with that? Because for everybody else seeing it, they would think, oh come on, like what's the big deal? But to you, there's some things that's like that's important. I mean, like, was there anything like that was lost? Or
so I think it was worse on my kids. So they lost. So my daughter was actually away at college at that time, but she still had stuff here, and my son was still here, and he was very much into video games. So he had collected Nintendo systems. So we had like all these Nintendo systems, you know, like not just the Wii or anything, but we had the GameCube, and we went back, right? And then he had my original Nintendo system, right, that I got when I was a kid because it still worked and I had it. And so all that's gone. And and so I think it was, and then my daughter had all these American Girl, which is a big doll thing, American Girl stuff, all gone, right? And I think both of them actually, a little more my son than my daughter because she wasn't here, and she had some stuff with her away at college. He's the same way. He's like, yeah, I don't care about stuff. I don't want stuff. I want to do things. I want to, create things. I want to see things. And everybody's kind of been on board with that since then. And that's what we do. Like we go places and see stuff and try to create things and do things that are, fulfilling personally, more than just being kind of, consumerist and saying, I want the latest of this or the latest of that or the latest shoes or clothes or anything, where before, it was a little bit more like that, I always used to joke with my daughter that she had the world's largest collection of flip-flops because we literally, she had, I think, 50 pair of flip-flops, and it was stupid. And it was, silly, but that's what she wanted. So that's what she got. Right. Well, now, I don't think she probably just has a pair. So, it's just weird stuff like that. And I don't want people to have to go through this to get to the other side of it. But it really was, it's probably been one of the biggest changes for me personally, having experienced it, because your mentality, you just come out of it and you're like, why am I doing this?
Like you get a new lease on life in a way.
In a way, I mean, we weren't in any danger because we weren't here, but but on the other side of it, you're like, why was I thinking all these things were so important? It's like, because just in a blink of an eye, they're gone. I mean, literally less than an hour and 15 minutes. You
guys weren't home.
No, we went. We went to dinner, and we came back from dinner, and this is a horrible story, and we're driving up, and there's smoke in the sky, and I go, "Oh, our house is on fire!" Ha 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 ha. Guess what? The house was on fire. We pull up. All the fire people are here. The police and everybody had been here for a while, and they were dealing with what was going on, and we just drove into it. And when we left, everything was normal. And we came back like it may not even been an hour and 15 minutes. It may have just been an hour. We didn't go like to a fancy dinner. We just went and sat down and I think we had pizza. And then you come back home and everything's gone. I mean, it's all destroyed.
Like that's the scary part about life in general is like, really, I mean, that's something, God, like maybe the people that I talked to today saying, hey, all right, guys, we'll see you later. Who knows? That could be the last time we see them. Like, it's not something that you want to think about, or it's not something that is could this happen? It's just sometimes it just completely catches you off guard, and it's just, that's the scary part about how quickly things change. And also kind of gives you, like I said, a new lease on life in a way. Like you're kind of realizing all these different things after the fire. It's like when someone has a massive heart attack and then they have this new lease on life of why would I sweat the small stuff? And when I was at this restaurant, I was gonna have some dessert and I didn't. That's something. So really, in a way, like this, losing your house, which was a few years ago now, that has kind of changed your outlook on mostly everything, right? I mean, like, even though it's been a few years later, how does that carry over up to now, a few years after it's happened?
Oh yeah, it's still, I'm still ingrained in it. I mean, it's almost like an awakening in a weird way, and I don't want to sound like I'm people who want to buy stuff in a negative light necessarily, but
Yeah, just don't buy anything at all. Don't go
but
shopping or anything.
but the reality is so many people put so much value on these things that are these things that you can purchase, right?
Yeah.
There's really quite a disconnect, if you ask me, and we're getting all philosophical here, Frankie. It's a big disconnect because you work for this money, right? Most people do. They have a job or they, do something to attain money, and then they spend that money on things, right? And you don't really think about that transfer too much. You think about how much the thing I'm getting is worth, right?
Yeah.
And you inflate it, right? It's inflated in your mind because you've done something to get it, right? I've worked to get it. But you don't really think about how much you worked for it. How if you were to do that, you'd drive yourself nuts with, if you go to lunch and like, well, if I spend $10, that's, an hour's worth of work or whatever you're making, right?
Oh, there'll be no end to it,
Yeah, there'd be no. So there's a disconnect. But then you put so much value on what you're getting after you get it that then that clouds your mind. Going forward, you're like, well, I can't let anybody else touch this. I can't let anyone else look at this. I'm the only one with this. I'm so special that I've got this one thing. And the reality is those things are valueless when you get down to it because they literally they won't last. And what lasts is we're really whooping ourselves around here, Frankie. What lasts is these connections to your family, these connections to your friends, the fact that I get to come on your show and we get to have a great conversation. That costs us essentially nothing directly. And yet, it's the most valuable thing.
Yep. That's
Isn't that
it.
wild? And it sounds real corny, and you hear it, over and over again in different ways. But if you really get put in the position to do some serious thinking about this, it's true. It is so true. It is so fantastic that you and I, being in different parts of North America, in two different countries, get a chance to have a conversation.
So far yet so connected.
Yeah. And it's, for me, and I know that you would probably agree with this because you're a creative person, is to be creative is just another one of those joys. And you don't even have to be, it doesn't have to be anything that sells. It doesn't have to be anything that makes you any money. It doesn't have to be even in the standard of the world. It doesn't even have to be good. It's just that you took the time to do something, to create something. And then now you've created it. And that to me is one of the, the best things that you can do, because even if it's fleeting or nobody else ever sees it, the fact that you took the time to do it is fantastic. And you're going to get more sense of value for yourself from doing something like that than you'll ever will, purchasing I can't remember the name of the Yeezys or whatever the red soled tennis shoes are that people love to have.
Yeezys? What's the name of them?
What is the name of those things?
God, you know what? I'm gonna look that up right now. Because that's gonna drive me nuts till the end of the show.
But I mean, that's to me, that's that's why I say we're getting all philosophical, but that's the truth though. I mean, it is so good. And it's so nice that, I get along with my family well, and we do things together, and we, talk about things and have experiences together. That's the best.
Yeah, because family, really, like, God, this sounds like a Vin Diesel movie or something like that, where I'm saying family is everything. But
Your family, Frankie.
yeah, family. We're family. I don't have friends. I got family. This podcast is about family. Family. Oh God. Take a drink every time you hear that in one of those movies. But when you have people that rely on you, when you have people who are in your corner, that's what fuels you. Fuels y'all. That's what fuels you. That's what gives you the motivation to do what you're doing. So you have a daughter and another child, you say?
I
There's
got I got a daughter and a son. Yeah.
daughter and a son, right? So
Yeah.
like you have that. No grandchildren yet, do you?
No, no, thank goodness.
Thank,
Yeah. No
thank goodness. Why you don't
grandchildren.
want to be a grandfather?
Oh no, I don't. I wouldn't mind, but I think the time's not. We're not to that point yet. I don't think.
No. Well, there you
Yeah,
go.
I
Like,
think we're yeah. We could wait a little bit longer on that.
I mean, no. I mean, like, there's a rush, and then it's kind of funny that we're talking about, oh, there's no rush, but then life's short. It's kind of funny
Right.
that we're kind of contradicting ourselves here.
Of course, but that's what people do. They constantly contradict themselves. Um, yeah, no, but I mean, everybody's living a life, right? So I, my biggest thing, we talk about kids or whatever. My biggest thing for my kids was I was hoping that I would inspire them. I don't think I'm a good parent. Let me take it back a little bit. I think I'm a horrible parent because because I kind of have a very laissez-faire attitude towards everything.
But your kids are
And
alive still,
oh no, they're fine.
and
Yeah,
they
they're
still talk
perfectly
to you.
fine, and they still talk to me. But I have this kind of laissez-faire attitude, and but we've always encouraged them to do whatever they wanted to do, even if it's something that we don't want to do, right? I did so so them growing up. I did so many things because they wanted to do them, and I had absolutely zero interest in doing them, but I did because I wanted to instill in them the joy of pursuing their what they wanted to do, right? So you as a parent, you have to be um, willing, to like my kids. I coach basketball, which I am not a basketball person, but my kids wanted to play basketball when they were younger, and and they needed people to help, and I said I will help, and uh, I was horrible at it, but I was there, and I was trying, and they were there, and they were trying, and all of it together. I would get ready to leave, and I'd be like, looking at my wife, like, "Oh God, I got to go do this," but I didn't say it out loud, right? So, but I did, and I think as a parent, you need to do all those things. You can't, if you want to be, I think, a decent parent, you have to encourage your kids the best that you can. It worked out that I had time to do that, so I did it. If I didn't have time because of obligations or something, then I might not have. But there was no excuse for me not to do it. You know what I mean? Other than I don't want to. But I don't think you don't want your kids to grow up saying, "Well, we could have done this, but Dad didn't want to."
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
I could have been in the Olympics right now, but Dad didn't
Yeah,
want to do it.
Dad
Like,
didn't want to take me to practice. Um, or whatever, because I did that too, right? So in other areas where they didn't need people to help them, I would just be the chauffeur, and I would go and wait and uh, sit around and kind of just waiting for things to be done. But I think you have to do that, and by doing that, then I think that made them, they tried a lot of different things, and then they found things they liked. And then as they got older, they were able to do that on their own. Now, the funny thing is, you talk about podcasting and whatever. Um, my kids didn't know that I did a lot of this until they were a little bit older. And then when they found out, they teased me mercilessly, but because it's not one of their interests. But it's like the other thing you have to do is you have to pursue your own goals and do your own thing because you're an example. So it's really, you got to do both, which is hard because there's so much going on in an adult person's life typically, right? You got to work, you got to, you have family, you have other obligations and so forth, but you have to do all those things in order to, present to your kids that, it's not all about work, or it's not all about fun. It's a mix of everything. And so then, you have to mix it up. And I think I don't want to be generalizing or anything, but sometimes kids don't all get that. And so then they think that life is terrible because all my parents do is work, or all my parents do is fight, or all my parents do is this or that. And it's, or I don't have a parent.
Yeah,
They're
no,
gone.
exactly. There's that too, which is sad.
But I think you have to do that. And so, I mean, it's, I've been lucky because I mean, becoming a parent was not in the cards for me when I was younger. I was like, why would I do that? Why do I want to have to be responsible for these other people? But it worked out, and it's been one of the best things for me. There's nothing like it, and it's worked out for me, at least, the best possible way. I think I've gotten extremely lucky in regards to some of these things. So, and we still go on vacation. I was in Las Vegas not too long ago visiting a friend of mine. I was there for other stuff, for work stuff, but I visited him, and he's like, "Do you really like to, when you go on vacation, do you really like to drive everywhere?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Why? He's like, "Why do you drive?" Because this last year, my wife and I and my daughter, my son actually opted out, but we drove from the Midwest into Yellowstone, and picked my daughter up along the way in Denver, and then we drove her back to California, and then we drove home from California. And I mean, it's a lot. I know, geographically, I'm in St. Louis. It's a long way. All that's a very, very long way.
It might seem like it's like a 10-minute drive. No, it's not. You know
No,
what I mean? Like,
it's a very, very long way. And we go through the mountains, and so, but anyway, we loved it. I mean, it seems counterintuitive because everybody has a horror story about doing stuff like that, but it was great. And the weird thing is, my son doesn't like it quite as much, and we used to kind of cajole him into going, and now we don't do that. He's gotten to be old enough to we'll let him make the decision. You want to go or not go? But my daughter loves it, and so she's like, she'll go anywhere. She's like, yeah, if you're paying, I'm going, because she just wants to go places. And so, yeah, I think we're going to go, here or there. And so we do. And then my son's a little bit, he doesn't like the transportation aspect of it. He loves to go places, but he doesn't want to ride in the car for hours. And so we will, so sometimes he and I will just go somewhere and fly somewhere and go and then come back to kind of even things out a little bit for him. And so it works out. But, it's just one of those weird things, togetherness or whatever. And stuff happens and people complain, and there's a little bit of infighting and whatnot. So somebody throws up eventually. I don't know if you've ever been on super long car rides, but eventually somebody's going to throw up in the car.
eventually.
The deal is.
And then there's always the one family member who will say, yeah, I'm just going to read this book. And then, I feel kind of sick. I shouldn't be reading this book. And then
That's
to keep
right.
reading, you're like, well, put the fucking book down.
That's right. Or they're looking at their phone.
Or their
These
phone.
days,
Yeah. I never
flipping
got
through.
that bad, but I've driven with people who are like that. It's almost like you don't want to eat this certain food because it's going to make you sick, and then they
It's
go
gonna
and do
make
it
you
anyway.
sick.
Well, it was right in front of me. It's like, well, that's not my
Yeah.
problem. Just
It's
stay away from me.
vacation. I should have ice cream at every meal or something. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. They just don't know. They don't know their limits, and then all of a sudden, everybody else is left picking up the pieces, which sucks.
But the thing is that it's kind of I don't laugh about it, but it's kind of an experience, and it happened, and then later on you laugh about it. You're like, oh, remember when? Like, yeah, I remember. Well, this is a terrible, horrible story, but I'll tell it anyway. So we had went to see my daughter in California, and we said, you want to go to Disneyland, because we've never been. And so she's like, of course she wants to go to Disneyland, right? Who doesn't want
Who
somebody to
wouldn't? It's
pay?
on my bucket list
Yeah,
still.
yeah. So where she doesn't live in Anaheim, and so my wife and I flew out there to go see her. We got this rental car, and the rental car place is, oh, this is a brand new rental car. It's only got like 7 miles on it, right? And I'm like, wow, that's fantastic. We got this brand new car. And so we get my daughter and we do some stuff in the city, and then we're heading out to go to Anaheim to go to a hotel to stay the night, and then get up and go to Disney. And Los Angeles traffic is it's worse than you can ever imagine, even if people keep telling you it's bad. It's the worst traffic I've ever had to deal with. So, and I am not the driver for that kind of stuff. My wife is. She's a very aggressive driver. I'm a very passive driver. And so she's driving aggressively in Los Angeles. I'm in the back seat because my daughter gets woozy, and so she's in the front seat. And so we're heading to Anaheim, and we're just about ready to get off the highway at our exit to get to the hotel. And she's like, I'm going to lose it. And my wife's yelling at me, find a bag. And I'm like, in the back seat, I'm like, is there a bag back here? I mean,
please, somebody give me something.
So I'm looking for a bag. And the next thing I know, she throws up all over the dashboard and on the window on the passenger side. And we're still driving down the highway.
Just like nothing ever happened.
And we pull off. There's puke everywhere. And we pull off and pull up, and there's a valet at the hotel who comes out to her window, because we got the window down now because it smells bad. And he's like, do you want to valet the car? And we're like, no, where can we park this thing?
We'll do it ourselves. We'll valet ourselves.
It's got a layer of puke all over the dash. So he tells us where to park. You know, when he first stuck his head in, he was like a very nice, hotel staff person. And then he kind of, read the room a bit and kind of pulled back, and he's like, yeah, you can go over there. And so we pull in and park, and then I ran into the hotel and I stole cleaning supplies off of the janitor's cart that was by the restroom in the lobby. And I took, a bunch of paper towels and a couple of bottles of cleaner, and I came out and cleaned up the car.
God, you're like... So the last thing you ever want to clean up.
I didn't ask anybody. I just ran out. I just grabbed everything I needed off the cart and took off. I'm surprised that they didn't send somebody out to get me.
And that was the last time you ever took her on a vacation.
No, we did it again. We always do it, but and then my wife and I, we get it all squared away, and then we're just laughing hysterically. This car only had 7 miles, and now there's puke in the vents.
This will be worth something.
Yeah, but I cleaned it up pretty good. I don't know that anybody could tell. We did not necessarily divulge the fact that somebody puked all over the dashboard, but I was able to clean it up pretty decently. So I don't think there was any evidence left on the dash. There may be
just it could be worse
down in it. What's that?
Just say it could be worse.
Oh yeah, it could.
Someone could have died in here.
Yeah, could be. We could have been a tragic accident or something. But no, yeah, it would. But I mean, yeah, but that's the kind of thing that happens, right? So, you could rant and rave and be upset about it, or you just take it for what it is and get through it and then laugh about it because it's so ridiculous.
Kind of like we said, life's short. Just go with it. You know what I mean?
Go with it. Exactly. Who cares? Well. That's what you get with a rental, I don't know what you.
Always a rental too.
It's always a rental. So yeah, but we felt bad taking it back, but we didn't go. It looked good enough, and it didn't smell bad by the time we took it back, so that was good.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, can you imagine that'd be such an awkward conversation too? It's just like, oh yeah, like would they charge you extra for that? I wonder.
I don't know. I imagine if it was obvious, they would. I mean, I've had I've had rental cars that had cat food in the armrest. So I don't know. I swear to God, I opened the armrest. I forget why, and there was like those little dry cat food in it, and I just assumed that somebody used it as a bowl for their cat.
Or some crazy cat lady took that car to church every Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was just like, I'm like, well, that's interesting. Look at that. It's like Friskies or something.
God, you never know, like what, like that's why, yeah, do a full on inspection, investigation on who owned the car, go full on like detective mode. Well, same deal, like buying a house. Like I know of somebody who was gonna buy a house, and then it found out it used to be a drug house, and they said, no, we're not doing
Oh,
it. They
really?
said they cleaned it up and everything, but they're like, no, still, like just the fact that we know what went on in this place,
Was it like a
we,
Breaking Bad meth cooking
yeah,
house
like.
or something?
Must have been Jesse Pinkman's house or something,
Yeah.
like a meth lab in the basement.
Wow. Go figure.
But yeah, just thinking about like what went on, it's like, no, we're not even gonna. It's like it'd be like going back to a place where someone was murdered and just living there like nothing ever happens. Like, really, would you really want to keep on living there? You know what I mean? Like just thinking
Yeah.
about what
Well,
happened and all that. That's all I'm
sometimes,
gonna think about when you're in that
well,
room.
sometimes it happens that way.
Things have. So
I'm
you'll
guessing. I mean,
you'll look in that rental van. All history was made here. My daughter puked all
Yeah.
over the dash.
It was a Charger. It was a Dodge Charger.
Oh, geez, that's even worse
Yeah, it
because
was
that's a good
nice.
car.
It was a nice car. Yeah, it was a Dodge Charger. I
Oh
remember.
God.
I was like, "This is a nice car." I remember when we picked it up in the 7 miles. I'm like, "Wow, this is nice."
This seems too good to be true.
We always get the junky rental. This is the first time we got the nice rental. Well, I think we're on a list now.
Yeah, no, they find out they're gonna listen to this podcast and go, "That's why, that's the bugger who
Yeah.
did that."
Oh,
Like
no
what?
wonder
How many
that.
years ago was that?
Yeah. Like 4 years ago now, 3 years
Oh,
ago.
geez, my God, that feels so.
They'll be like, no wonder that thing still smells like sour milk. Oh my
We get rid
God.
of that shit. It's okay.
Yeah, we sold it at auction. We don't want that one anymore.
Oh man, like, but this is why I love having you on. So many great stories, so much, always something fun to talk about. Just it's great that Static Radio is still going strong too. You know what I mean? Like that's another big thing too. And It's always a blast. It's always a blast to have you on and to chat with you. Any final thoughts in terms of like where people can follow you and stuff like that on social
Oh,
media?
this is the plug time. I get a plug
This is plug time.
sometime.
This is your call to action. They call that.
So and I always do horribly at this, but you can find us at staticradio.com. And if you feel like it, and Frankie, this goes for you as well. If you feel like dropping by, we do on Monday at 9:30 Central. That would be 10:30 Eastern, 8:30 Mountain, and 7:30 Pacific. We do our show live on a platform called Plausible, which is a comedy platform, and you can come and tell us a story.
Yes, that's right. I think you did extend that invite to me at one point. I'm definitely going to keep that in
If you don't
mind.
make it, it's fine. But it's fun, and so we tell our stories, and then if somebody's with us, they can always interject, or if they want to, they can tell a story of their own. And we've had some good ones. People just throwing it out there, and it works. But it'll be on the show. You can't just tell me a story that you like. Oh, don't put that out there. It's like, well, that's the whole point of this.
Yeah. I always love that too of doing a podcast or actually well no podcast it wouldn't really apply because you can just go on and edit it out, but going on radio and saying stuff that you probably like if you don't want people to know about and they say it anyway and then go
Right.
you'll cut that out, right? It's like, well,
No.
we're live. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's the fun. That's the fun of live is it's live, right? So it's kind of it's a thrill in and of itself, and it just goes out. So, yeah, I do have. Let me do, if it's okay, I'll do one more. Say one more thing. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
go for it. Yeah.
So I'm doing a new thing. Actually, I started doing it as just kind of a side thing, but it's become more regular. But I'm doing a thing called Mondo Frico, which is now you're going what?
Mondo what?
Frankie? Like, maybe we want something.
Raggy.
Yeah.
It turned into
It's
Scooby.
called the Mondo Frico podcast, Mondo Frico podcast.com. And I have a different co-host. His name is Rob. And Rob, I had talked to Rob on his show a while back, and we had fun talking about kind of weird things, right? So cryptids, paranormal stuff, UFO stuff. And we had a lot of fun doing that. And so we've decided to do a little show that's not quite as frequent as Static. I think it's every 3 weeks or something. And we've created a randomizer, which gives us a random topic to talk about each time we do a show. And to me, the funny part is that he loves to do research. So he does all the research, which is great for me because I can't do that. I'm lazy. So, and then I come in and try to figure out what the heck we're talking about and just kind of joke it up a little bit. So, but it's a lot of fun. It's a more edited show. It's a little bit more honed, I suppose. But I also get to do a lot of off the cuff kind of things during the recording of it, and then some of that gets cut out for time and whatnot. And because I'm always amazed, so we're shooting for a half-hour show, and we typically record for about an hour and a half. And so
well, leaves lots of room. There's lots of good content there, and you're like, we don't have to use all of it. We can splice it up, do whatever. That's always a good thing to have.
But I get to still be freewheeling and say whatever, and he's a little bit more the guiding hand, I'd say. So, and that's what he wants to do. So that's the beauty of it is I feel bad because I'm like, this is horrible. We just talked for an hour and a half, and you're going to cut this down by 2/3. He's like, no, I like to do that. I'm like, well, you're crazy.
If you think this is quality, you know what I mean?
No, but it's been a lot of fun. So, and it's, kind of a weird take on things. The latest episode that's out there is on the Mongolian death worm. Have you ever heard of that?
Mongolian death worm.
Yeah. I hadn't really heard of it. So
I think I've heard of it in like school or something like that before.
Yeah. So there's supposedly this worm over in the Mongolia area in the Gobi Desert that can kill you in many different ways. And it's about 3 to 5 foot long. And it's called the Mongolian death worm. And but you have to listen to the show to get more details on how it kills you.
That's the plug. That's how you get people to tune into it. You lead them on that cliffhanger. Part 2 of this will be on.
But we had a lot of fun talking about it. So, and I never heard of it. And so then, I'm, learning and then, commenting on it. I said, oh, it's a worm that rides a horse and knows how to do archery. Because that's what the Mongols are known for. So I'm assuming that it's, history there, a little bit of Mongol history. So Genghis Khan and all that, right? So that's where I come in.
No, that's it. That's awesome. And you're doing your thing, man. And I really, really respect it, especially all the dedication keeping this up for all these years, too. I mean, we said before, 1998 it started. That I wouldn't have, I wasn't born yet. I was born 99. You know what I mean? So I literally grew up with.
You were born in 99? Seriously?
I was 99, yep.
Well, are you 26 or B26?
I'll be 26 in July.
Get out of town.
Yeah. That's it, man. Time just.
Well, I will commend you on being so accomplished as a young 26-year-old.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. But I feel old some days. Like,
oh, really? You got to, I mean, come on. You're doing all kinds of stuff. It's nice to see somebody who's doing so much and is so accomplished and you're out there plugging away, doing what you love. So that's great.
And we all have to do that because we always say, don't sweat the small stuff. That's actually what I'm going to title the episode. Don't sweat the small stuff. I literally just thought of that right now. It's true, though. It's true.
Unless it's hot outside.
Unless it's hot outside, which that's going to be coming soon. But Bob, thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure, and I'm sure we're gonna see you back at some point, unless you're tired and like, I'm not going on that show again.
No, I'm always happy to fill in or what have you. I love doing it, and I love talking to you, Frankie. And honestly, I think you're just you're doing a bang up job at your show. So keep it up.
This is fun, man. It's always fun. And don't forget to pat yourself on the back, too, for all that you've done and that you're still doing. It's always great to see. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the show today. We will see you guys in the next episode. But until then, this is Frankie and Bob LeMent of Static Radio signing off. Cheers, Bob.
Cheers.